Welcome to the Knit2gether Podcast. My name is Julie. This is episode 2. Today is December 22nd, 2022, and I'm going to share with you some of the stuff that I've been working on recently. Thank you to everyone who watched episode 1. More people than I imagined watched it. People subscribed and commented. That's really, really, really nice, and I appreciate your support. So I can get started with what I'm wearing today. In true Christmas, wintry, festive spirit, this is a Christmas sweater I made last year for myself. It's the Hreindyr sweater. This is a Icelandic style sweater, design. I can't say the designer's name, but she's an Icelandic designer who designs for Istex. Istex is the company that makes Letlopi yarn, which is a very classic Icelandic in style and breed and nationality yarn. I believe Istex, the company that makes Letlopi, Plutalopi, Alaflosslopi, I think they purchase 99% of the wool that's sheared in Iceland. So this is an Icelandic style sweater. It's also made out of Letlopi, which is the yarn it was designed for. The yarn was very nicely purchased by my parents who went to Iceland last summer, 2021, and I gave them a shopping list of yarn to buy. I never used Icelandic wool before. I'd only heard about it, and so I really wanted to give it a try. It is available in the United States, but I sort of wanted them to go to the knitting store and, get a taste of the knitting tradition and the knitting culture in a Scandinavian country, in a Nordic country. They loved it. My mom took lots of pictures and told me so much about the sweaters and the mitts and all of the yarn in the store. I think they overall enjoyed the trip, but I think, they wouldn't have thought to visit a knitting store if I hadn't asked them to. So Letlopi is, like I said, made out of Icelandic wool. It's pretty economical, which is really great. In the US, it retails for $7 per 50 grams. You can buy it at your local yarn store. You can buy it at Webs, which is yarn.com. A local yarn store to me that sells it is Twist in near New Hope, Pennsylvania. The colors that I used for this sweater are the white, the black, and this very, I think in my opinion, light medium gray. It is a little bit itchy, so this is definitely what I'd consider a rustic yarn. Icelandic sheep have 2 coats, a soft and a coarser coat that are spun together. So right now I'm wearing just a short sleeve t-shirt underneath this, so I can definitely feel the fabric on my arms, but it's not super scratchy. I've heard that the more you wash and wear it, the softer it gets. I've probably washed this sweater maybe 4 times, so I'm very, very excited to see how it wears over time. The main, crowning glory of it are the reindeers prancing across the yoke. I think they're super cute. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. I love it so much. They go all around the back, and then there are trees on the cuff. And yeah, I think it's a great festive sweater. It's super warm. The one last story I can leave you with about the sweater is that this sweater, or just Letlopi sweaters in general, or even more broadly wool sweaters, they're super warm, and they're super temperature regulating. So I went camping. The most recent time I went camping was in October. It was very cold at night, sort of in the mountains here in Pennsylvania. I wore like 3 pairs of leggings and like fleecy pants and stuff like that. And then on top I wore like an undershirt, like a long sleeve t-shirt and my reindeer sweater, and my top was way warmer than my bottoms. So one of the things I want to knit next year is Let Lopi leggings. There is a pattern on Ravelry called the Cable Crush Joggers that I want to knit in Let Lopi. I think it's gonna be really warm. They're gonna be really cute. I don't think I have enough left over in stash to knit a pair, so that means I'll have to go yarn shopping. But I think those are going to be really cute. They're going to keep me really warm for, like outdoor activities, just like sitting by a fire when you're going camping, or if they're... Recently, I went to the Philly Half Marathon, not to run, to watch, and some woolen joggers would have been very, very helpful because it was also freezing there. So that's something on my, coming up, not in the near future, but coming up next year. I don't know if I'll get them done this winter, but that's something that I want to have for next winter for sure. All right, that's what I'm wearing. The Hreindyr sweater made out of Let Lopi. It is a treasured sweater of mine. All right, we can move into my finished objects. So this is something that you have not seen before. It is just a simple hat. This is the Nordic hat, or the chart is the Nordic hat. I don't know the designer's name, but I think it's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's a really basic 4-stitch stranded colorwork hat. I used, for this maroon color, the background color, it's Woolly's worsted. And then the contrast color is Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted. The Woolly's, so the maroon color, the Lion brand, is 80% acrylic, 20% wool, super easy to wash, and like it's pretty soft. It feels a little bit acrylic-y in my opinion, but nothing too like plasticky or uncomfortable. And then the Wool of the Andes is a workhorse yarn. I love it. So the original Nordic hat is knit in DK weight. I knit mine in worsted weight because it's the yarn I have. So the kinds of modifications I did were changing the numbers a little bit. I think I started with a 96 stitch. I stitches. I use the same size needle for the ribbing and the like body of the hat. I've been doing that recently with hats just because, 1, because I'm lazy, and 2, because I don't think hat brims need to have a ton of cinch. So, it just needs to be, it needs to have a little bit of cinch, but not too much cinch. Hats are very difficult for me. I can put it on. I have a love-hate relationship with hat. They keep your head warm, which is great, but I've always grown up thinking that I have a humongous head. So I have a difficult relationship with sizing hats appropriately. I'll either make them way too big because I have some kind of fear or, misunderstanding that my head is 28 inches around. It's not. So this hat, I think if I wear it just like this, it's a little like loosey-goosey in the back, and I'm not a huge fan of that. So I have been preferring to fold the brim over and wear it, snug, which I think looks okay. I know Roxanne Richardson has a hat series on her channel right now, so I probably need to rewatch those and, come to terms with and measure my head appropriately so I can actually knit hats that are appropriate for my size head. Sorry for the tangent about, my issues with hats. This is the Nordic hat. Like I said, it's a stranded colorwork hat. It's a very simple stranded colorwork pattern. I think I mentioned it's only 4 stitches across. So if you're learning how to do stranded colorwork, it's a perfect practice piece. I personally hold 1 strand in my right hand, the background non-dominant yarn, and then I hold the dominant yarn in my left hand. So I use a combination of like English throwing and continental plucking. Throwing and I'm blanking. Of English in my right, continental in my left. It took a little bit of practice to get really good at that, but I think it's the easiest way for me to like easily manage my colors. So practice makes perfect, and this is a perfect practice piece. It's super fast. It is pretty fast, and it's a very like classic looking, very cute looking pattern. So Nordic hat. The Nordic hat is my only finished object, so now we can go to works in progress. This first works in progress is something that you saw last time. I talked about it last time. It is the Rift tee. So this is what it looks like. It's not blocked yet. It can definitely use a block. The yarn that I'm using is Middlebrook Fiberworks, vintage number 8. Show you the label. It is a 40% Shetland, 40% fine wool, 10% silk, and 10% Rami mix. Middlebrook Fiberworks is a local farm to me. They're located in New Jersey, and the owner, Annie, has a flock of Shetland sheep that she shears and then gets processed into really interesting yarns like this vintage number 8. I think I might have talked about it last time, but it's so bouncy. It's a 2-ply, but it is so bouncy, and it like is so round. It looks like a 3-ply yarn, and that's what like I had to buy it when I saw it. I'm on a no buy quest, but I feel really thankful that if there's something that's really special, like this, or something that I can't, if I'm in a position where I can get something that I normally can't, I feel lucky that I'm in a place in my life where I can get that yarn. So back to the Rift tee. The Rift tee is a simple tee designed by Cieslak. It's available in a big size range, I think up to about 60 inches. Bust up to about a 60-inch bust. I only had 200 grams of this yarn, and I will be able to finish my tee, which I'm very, very glad about. This is the front. The front I have a V-neck, and then for the back I have a boat neck. I think last time when I recorded, I had probably split the front and back of the body, but hadn't worked on like the shoulders yet, like the neck shaping and the shoulders. So I did the front V, left and front, and then the back boat neck. This is a drop shoulder design. So you sort of knit basically it's a shaped rectangle. You can see that the shoulders are a little bit sent and stuff like that, but ultimately it's basically a rectangle. And then you pick up stitches around the armhole. So like 2 sides of the rectangle, the front rectangle and the back rectangle, to make the sleeve. All of the sweaters I've made previously are like this Hreindyr sweater is a circular yoke, where it is basically, it's sort of like a cone almost, or a raglan, which is also like a cone. Instead of like a cone, it's sort of like a pyramid kind of, where the raglan lines, there are distinct raglan lines, So there's sort of like the edges, not the faces, but the edges of a pyramid. I don't know if that makes sense. I made that up on the fly. I make a lot of things up on the fly. I also go on tangents a lot. Since I last recorded, so I finished the front, the back. I knit the short sleeves on one sleeve, and that means I still need to knit the ribbing on the other sleeve, and I also need to like finish the edge around the neckline. I tried doing that and it didn't work out great. I think the instructions in the pattern are to like pick up a knit and then immediately bind off, which to me sounds basically like a slip stitch crochet. So I think I'm gonna try that instead of using the knitting needle. I'll probably just find a crochet hook that's the right size and do that. I am really bad at picking up stitches. I watch a lot of videos and I never know, like, am I supposed to go in the bind off chain, or am I supposed to go in like in between the two legs of the V? It's very confusing for me, so I'm always watching videos and trying to get help. So we'll see how that goes. I think the first armhole, and I think, going back to my issue with picking up stitches, I think probably part of the problem is just I don't have enough practice. I think the picking up for this sleeve hole worked out pretty well. So I have high hopes for the sleeve hole, and then high hopes for my second attempt at the neckline. But yeah, this is super cute. Oh, and I was mentioning, I have a good amount of yarn left. I haven't weighed it yet, but I think last time I weighed it, there were 60 grams. So I probably have like 40 grams left. At least 40 grams, 40 or 50 grams. If I have enough yarn left, I might do some sweater surgery and lengthen the body a little bit. I haven't quite decided yet. It might be, I might just suck it up and have it be like a little cropped summer sweater, but then also if I have this extra yarn, I don't know what to do with it. What I've learned this year is that a girl needs a different length cropped shirts, or cropped sweaters or cropped cardigans. There needs to be like a length that, you know, works well with dresses. There needs to be a length that works well with jeans. So anyway, these are things I've learned in 2022. So, Rift Tea. Enough talking. Rift Tea. Very cute. Loving the blend. When I bought the yarn from Annie, I told her that I wanted to make a tea out of it, and I made a tea out of it. So this is only my second episode, so I just sort of want to share like what a normal amount of progress might be for me in 2 weeks. I think this is above average for me. Starting about mid last week, I tried to be a lot more careful about like not getting sick before the holidays. So that meant a lot of time for me to sit at home, knitting and spinning. So yeah, I guess it's sort of a disclaimer to protect me in future videos, but then also, you know, I had the time recently, so this is what I worked on. All right, my next work in progress are my festive mitts. This is a mystery knit along from Skeindeer Knits. There are 8 clues that came out over December. So these are the products of clues 1 through 7. Right before I recorded, I saw there was an email from Skeindeer that clue number 8 had come out, so that must be the thumb. Very, very excited. Yeah, I'm super stoked. These are the first time I've ever knit like Nordic style mittens or mittens with color work. I've only knit three mitts before, right? 1 pair and 1 without a pair. And they were very basic. I think I made the World's Simplest Knit pattern. No, World's Simplest Mitt pattern by Tin Can Knits, in like a boring brown color. that I think I gave my brother. I think he still has those. I hope he still has those. So these are definitely the most intricate knits I've made. I keep calling them knits. These are definitely the most intricate mitts I made. They use a lot of the same motifs that were in Skeindeer's Festive. Oh, I looked it up because I had to put it in my description last time. The Festive like cardigan knit along. I made the cardigan. There was also a pullover. So they are not like Christmas specific. They are general like winter holidays. So there's what I think are two dreidels. There's a poinsettia. There's a bird or a swan maybe. I don't actually know what that is. A snowflake, I think. What I think is another dreidel, a bell, an ornament, a present, what might be a menorah, some very cute hearts, some Latvian braids. I've never done Latvian braids before. That was very exciting for me. It wasn't very difficult. It's an exercise of yarn management though. Everything gets very tangled. I knit these mitts 2 at a time. So I wound off little balls of yarn so I could knit everything all at the same time on one long circular needle. I used size 2s, which I think is smaller than recommended. Or the way that these mitts work is that you use different needles depending on the size that you want. So if you want a smaller size, you use smaller needles so that the color works at a denser gauge. For some reason or another, the only needles I had available when I cast on were 2s. I think my 3s were being used. I might have lent them or something. But the gauge is perfect for me, which is, I think I lucked out. Lucky me. I can put them on real quick to show you what they look like. They haven't been blocked yet. I'll block them when I finish the thumb, and I'll probably do that today. To do some housekeeping and stuff like that today. So they're super cute. This is the first time I've ever knit anything like this. It was really interesting to see how they're constructed. And I probably will not make another pair for some time. Probably not until next winter. But I've very much enjoyed making these. I didn't mention what yarn I used. This is Hreindyr, which is a Norwegian yarn that Skeindeer uses a lot in her patterns. She is Norwegian after all, and Hreindyr is a pretty classic brand there. So the ball band looks like this. Hreindyr is available at quite a few, a fair few US retailers. I purchased mine in Seattle, I believe, at a shop called something.tea, I think. I'll link it in the description. You can also purchase it at the Woolly Thistle, which is also an American distributor, or American retailer of Hreindyr. I can tell you the colors. The colors, since I have them, are 0438 is the blue, and the white is 0401. That's this. They go together quite well, I think. So I'm very, very happy that I made these. And this is a yarn that I bought earlier this year, so I am happy to say that, I was able to use yarn that I purchased this year for a project, and so it's not just, languishing, accumulating in my stash. Festive mitts. Ah, they're so cute. The one last thing. I'll say one last thing because I always have one more thing to say. The pollen pattern is pretty addicting and pretty easy to memorize. It's actually very, very similar, I think, to the Nordic hats, because it's basically just like diagonals and crosses. The way they're distributed, the way they're distributed is a little bit differently. But as I was knitting things, I was like, I just knit a bunch of crosses and diamonds. So this was very, very addicting. And then the backside was also very fun, because the motifs are always changing. I've been pretty good about finishing each clue before the next one came out. I think I was behind. I was like behind maybe for one or two of the clues. A lot of times I had like finished the clue the same day that the next clue came out or was catching up. But very fun knit. Very much enjoyed it. All right. And the last thing I have to show you today are some of the spinning things I've been working on. So like I mentioned, I spend a lot of time at home. And so I've been trying to practice my spinning. A little bit about like me and my spinning journey. I started spinning earlier this year. In like, I would say probably like, I bought the wheel in March. So I probably started spinning in late March. I have an electric eel wheel 6, which is a fairly affordable electric spinner. I don't know the entire backstory, but I know that a lot of the new launches are funded on Kickstarter. So it's sort of like a crowdsourced, approachable wheel. It's when I purchased it, it was about $350, which is, not nothing at all. But it was, an approachable price point for me to start this hobby. I've spun, I got an electric wheel. I got an electric wheel because I tried treadling once and it was a disaster. Probably if I practiced more, I would probably get the hang of it. Maybe that's what everyone says. But the electric wheel was enticing for me because it's taking treadling out of the equation is just one less thing to worry about. And you can focus on your hands and the drafting. So I have spun probably like not a lot. I've spun a lot of like random things and then just like created little balls of yarn. But prior to these spinning projects, I think I've only spun like of like 100-gram quantity, like I think 200 grams before this. But I wanted to get more practice, and I don't want to just have the wheel just sitting at home not doing anything. So this weekend I spun a lot. I can start with the older project. This is, I use reusable zip ties. This is something that I learned from Knits. She dyes yarn using reusable zip ties, and I hate like cutting little pieces of yarn to tie things off and then like throwing them away or like saving them. So reusable zip ties, they look, not the best, but they're reusable. So I think it's worth it. I'll try to show you a pretty side. So this is a 2-ply that I spun. The fiber is from Knit Picks. It's their Wool of the Andes base. I use a lot of Wool of the Andes apparently. I didn't even think that I did, but maybe I do. Or maybe I'm just trying to get through all of it, which is good. I enjoy the base. It's very good. It's good yarn. It's good fiber. So I'm happy to use it. So this is a 2-ply made from the Wool of the Andes base. I tried to draft all of the singles like short forward. So I try to get like good control of my singles, try to get good control of the drafting triangle, so that twist wasn't entering the drafting triangle. I think eventually I got like the hang of it pretty well. So the yarn came out to be like a pretty, for me it's pretty even. And I don't think I'm at the point where I can start comparing myself to others. But it's like pretty good. I'm honestly pretty happy. There are, you know, spots where it's one ply is ridiculously over twisted. But I'm happy. So yeah, the color's really nice. It's like heathered. I think I realized it when I was plying, or when I was drafting singles. But it's really nice. I'm super happy. Oh, so what I did to spin this is I split the 100-gram top. I think it's top. I need to get better at understanding like what the different fiber preps are. I think they call it roving, but I think it's top. I could be wrong. If you know, feel free to correct me. I split the 100 grams of top of fiber into two 250-gram, bumps. I don't know the terminology. I split the 100 grams into 250 grams and then spun it, and then plied it. So yeah, I'm super excited about this. I don't know what I'm going to use with it yet. I also have not set it or done the soak in water and stuff like that. What I imagine is blocking for, it's like the equivalent of blocking for knitting is what I understand it to be. Last time I showed the Yarn and Texture book by Julia Moreno, and I have started looking through that, and it described some of the wet finishing techniques that are good for like distributing twist. So I'll probably give those a try, because I know there are spots that are over twisted and under twisted, or over plied and under plied. One other thing to know about my wheel, something that gave me trouble for all the yarn that I was spinning this week, is that I think the motor's dying, which is interesting because I haven't actually spun that much on it. But if I hit the foot pedal, it doesn't really go unless I give the flyer like a jump start, which reminds me of my car, which wasn't working, and I had to jump start it every time I drove it like 2 weeks ago. But that's besides the point. So I think I need to buy a new motor for it. So because the motor was sort of on the fritz, sometimes the speed was also very variable. So that's part of the reason the twist and the ply are a little bit uneven. The other reason obviously being my inexperience. Knit Picks Woolly Undies. I made a 2-ply. And the other yarn that I made, it's very exciting, because I keep seeing people making these beautiful, what they call combination spins, which I think is where you take like 2 different braids, spin them into singles, and then ply them together. Ideally, or typically, there is like a common thread between the 2 braids, like a color or a color theme. And they make the most beautiful yarns. That ends up looking like yarn that looks a lot like what you could buy commercially from Spindrift. Spindrift is beautiful, but it's definitely on the upper edge of what I would like to purchase. So I've never purchased it, but I have a spinning wheel now, so I can try to make my own. So I did not use the colors that are beautiful like Spindrift. I use natural colors. So this in total is 5 ounces of yarn that I spun and plied this weekend. It came from a Shetland grab bag that I purchased at the New England Fiber Fest this November. I got the grab bag from a vendor called Friends and Fiber. They sell on Etsy. I think they're based out of like New Hampshire or Massachusetts. And essentially the grab bag had 5 colors, 5 1-ounce bumps, I think they're called bumps, of Shetland fiber. So there was a white, there was a gray, there was a very light brownie beige, you can sort of see here maybe, a more medium brown, which is more like this color, and a dark brown, like a dark chocolatey brown. So what I did to sort of make this is I took all 5 of those bumps. From each bump, I basically split it into 2, not necessarily in half. I actually tried to not do it in half for all of them. And then made 2 piles each that were 2.5 ounces. And then from one of the piles, I try to split basically like a staple length off of each piece of fiber. And then toss those all in a grocery bag. And then the other pile of fiber that was still the just 2.5 ounces, I didn't really split it much more from after that. And I spun each of the 2.5 ounces. So one of the singles, one of them I pulled from the grab bag, the grocery bag of like staple lengths. So that one cycles through colors a lot, really frequently. And then the other singles move from one color to the next a lot more infrequently. And that's just because each piece of fiber is a lot longer. So I end up getting something that looks like this. I think it's really, really beautiful. So yeah, in total it's more than 100 grams, which is great. It sort of, you can see it on the Knit2gether especially, it cycles between really nice colors, and overall you can almost see like a gradient because there's the one singles that really didn't change colors very often. This is my Knit2gether. It cost less than $10 to make. I went to Home Depot and I asked them for 1-inch PVC. I bought a couple of the fittings and they cut the PVC for me in the store, which is very nice. I got this inspiration also from Chemknits. So these are 6-inch pieces that they cut. So there are 4 of them. And then this here in the middle is a foot. And then I got these T fittings, 2 of them, 1 on each end. And then I got the caps, the 1-inch caps. So there are 4 of those as well. So all in total, because of the angle that it's not like straight down like this, because of the angle and the diameter of the PVC, it's like a 14-inch Knit2gether. So each time the yarn goes all the way around, it's 4 times 14, which is 56 inches. So that's, and then once I count the wraps, then I know approximately how long the skein is. And then I can weigh it, so I know how much fiber I used. Math, I love math. So yeah, I'm very, very proud of this spin. This is the first time I've spun anything like this before. I don't know what I'm gonna use it yet for. I think I'll have to do a little bit more calculating and searching on Ravelry, searching through my library. But I think it'd be pretty cool to use it for like the colorwork section of a yoke, maybe, of a sweater. If I were gonna do it against like a white background, I'd probably cut out the parts of the yarn where both plies are white. But yeah, maybe I can use it against a gray background. I do have a cone of Jameson and Smith 2-ply jumper weight gray, which is Shetland wool. Maybe I can use it against that. I don't know. We'll see. I'm also now realizing that I did not use my AirPods for the audio. So you might be able to hear the rain pittering. You might be able to hear the trucks going. I apologize for that. I will be better next time. I also got, this is a complete tangent. If you have AirPods Pro that were manufactured before October 2020, and they have audio issues, you can go get them replaced at the Apple Store for free. So I did that. So I actually have basically new to me AirPods that I got for free, which is super awesome, and I forgot to use them today. Next up on my needles are probably going to be socks. Well, I need to finish the socks that I showed last time. I have not made any progress on that. I'm really good at making single socks. Fall very hard for single sock syndrome. I have this singular sock that I knit a year ago. It's a basic stockinette sock. Was gonna do an afterthought heel. Never done an afterthought heel, so I was hoping to try that. I'm going away for a little bit. We'll be taking some public transportation, so I think the most like efficient knitting from like a space to like time spent on perspective is socks. It's just like so dense, so many stitches. So I'll probably bring a sock to work on. I need to make a pair. I need to make a second sock for this. So yeah, I'll probably work on that. When I'm back, I really want to work on a like worsted stockinette sweater. And then I also mentioned earlier those Let Low Be joggers that I really want to make. One last thing to add about that, there is someone on Ravelry who made that pattern with Plutalope, which is the unspun version of Let Low Be. And I talked to her a little bit, and she said that those are holding up really well. Her husband is wearing them a ton, so that brings me a lot of comfort knowing that, you know, I think these are gonna work out well. So yeah, that's what I envisioned is next on my needles. Who knows? You know, last time I did not mention that I was gonna make a hat, I think, and I showed up today with a finished object hat. So we'll see. We'll see. Last time I left you with a tip at the end of the episode, and today I'll do the same. This is something that I learned on the Yarniacs podcast. I think Charlene shared this. But it's to use a little floss container as a tiny notions kit. When you finish using a container of floss, always floss, good habit to have. You can open the container where the spool of floss used to be, and you can use that as a holder for like stitch markers. I have some floss in here unused, but you can use this as waste yarn. You know, obviously you can keep like little stitch markers in here, and it's a great like little container. And the bonus tip, and I still have tons of space in here for more stuff, so I'll probably put more stuff in here. And then the bonus tip is that floss containers always have a cutter, and you can use that cutter to cut yarn, especially if the yarn has like tons of plies or is strengthened with nylon or something like that. It might not be so easy to just break with your hands. This cutter is a little nicer to use than like keys and like sawing at keys. Have tried doing that on an airplane. It was not fun. So yeah, it's a great hack. So yeah, a floss container is a great like container to have in your notions bag, or to keep as a very emergency notions kit. Anyway, that's all I had to share with you today. That's all I had on my list. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any feedback, please leave them in the comments. I'd love to read them. If you want to continue, following this knitting journey, give the video a like, a subscribe, and I'll be back early to mid-January with an update. Hopefully I'll have lots of cool things to show. And if not, even if there are no cool things to show, I will still be here with an update. Thanks for watching. I hope you and your friends, your family, your loved ones have a great festive season. I hope you're able to take a little bit of time to relax, to knit, to spend time with the people you love. And yeah, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. I'll see you in 2023. All right, bye.